Вітання усім.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the first briefing for today is about the situation that happened because far-right groups often disrupt the gatherings of people. So we would like to hear the opinion of the experts. Denis Kryvosheiev, Deputy Director of Amnesty International, and Oksana in Eastern Europe and Central Asia, Oksana Pokalchuk, Director of Amnesty International Ukraine, Tania, Director of the Human Rights Watch in Ukraine, and Yulia, Kondur, Roma, Forum Chirikli. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We are really glad that you came here, and we feel this presence and the letters we get with the support, solidarity in the situation that happened to us and the situation our civil society is living in. So we didn't plan this press conference. It happened unexpectedly for us. On Thursday in Underhub, we wanted to deliver a lecture and then a discussion about the law on prohibition of propaganda of homosexualism in Russia, and whether this is censorship. And we wanted to speak about the councils, regional councils in Ukraine, and they write addresses to the President, to the Supreme Council, with proposals to adopt the same law in Ukraine. And we were not able to hold our event. We were blocked by 20 far-right activists, young people. They prevented this event. They wished death upon us, and police officers who were there, the police of Pechersk district, they didn't protect us. They didn't do anything. They started even support the idea that we should leave the venue and to go out, to leave the premise and to face many young far-right activists who stayed outside. And then patrol police came and they allowed us to go and to leave the premise. So the situation is unacceptable because we were forced to hide, to feel pressure, and we just want to discuss important things that are of interest to us. And we decided to gather here and to discuss the situation. And the situation that happened to us, this is not something new. We follow the events connected with far-right groups, and there was a march on the 8th of March, and Ukraine represented European choice, and in many places people suffered because of far-right activists, women and journalists suffered, and Vitalina Koval in Uzhgorod, her eye was burnt because of the paint that was thrown into her face. Now there is no investigation concerning these actions. We know who did it. It is not difficult to reveal these people. And after the attacks, people write, they boast about these actions on social media, and we didn't see any proper investigation. On the 21st of April this year, radical organization in Lisa Hill, they also started fire, and this was a loud case, and Minister Avakov said that this is unacceptable. And where is the position of the government and the state on this issue? We do not see this position. Before delivering this press conference, we sent requests to different ministries and departments to have meetings to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Sports and Youth, and many other ministries. No response from them. And we hope that the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Ministry of Youth and Sports, we hope that they will find time to meet with us and to discuss these problems that we recorded, and we hope that we will be able to voice the position, because as of now we are only speaking for ourselves. We do not know the opinion of the state. Now I would like to give the floor to Tatiana Cooper, Director of Human Rights Watch in Ukraine, and she is going to tell us more. She was one of the speakers on Thursday, and she was not able to join because of the blockade of the entrance. I was invited by my colleagues from Amnesty International in order to discuss the survey carried out in Russian Federation in 2013-2018 concerning attacks on LGBT community in Russia. And as Oksana said, I was not able to deliver my speech because this event didn't happen. For me, it was a terrible déjà vu, because I wanted to tell about these things in my presentation. I heard from LGBT people in Ukraine and in Russia that the events that they held, that these events were attacked, and one of the activists, so he lost his eye. And it was difficult to face the same situation in the hub. And what was really sad is that police officers, as Oksana said, they reacted strangely on the situation. They said, no one beats you, they said. Nothing happens, they say. There's no conflict. Why should we protect you? There's nothing. And this is the fact that police officers, they do not understand their responsibility. They should protect peaceful assemblies. It's not enough that there's no violence, but the rights are still violated because our event didn't happen because police, they didn't do anything against those who came to disrupt this event. And in this, we spent 3 hours and we left the premise. And also I would like to add about the motivation of these people from radical groups. We understand their motivation. They attack, they beat people, so they just express their opinion in this way. But why police allowed to commit the crime? Why police allowed to commit the crime in their presence? And why do you allow these people to attack and you do not protect people from these crimes? International law, it says in a direct way that each state is responsible for the protection of its citizens, and the access to justice and judiciary, it should be equal, and people cannot be discriminated because of their political and other views, and they should get the right, they should be able to realize their right for protection from this. I believe that police, they have instruments in order to defend the organizers and participants of our event, but they didn't do it. And this is really sad. And it shows that such incidents will continue because the participants of far-right groups, they saw that they can do it without any punishment, and this impunity, it can have really sad consequences. The protection of people and access to justice and what is stated by the Constitution of Ukraine. And this is not provided by law enforcers, and it shows that this responsibility is not taken by police in a proper way. So we would like to provide recommendations to law enforcement bodies of Ukraine, and we would like to say that such incidents, such cases should be publicly condemned by the leaders of the state and law enforcement bodies. Also, there should be responsibility for such cases. And the right for freedom of assembly, it should be a priority, and it should be protected by the law enforcement bodies of Ukraine. Thank you, Tania. I would like to give the floor to Yulia Kondur. She is the Roma center head. The center is called Chirikli. You know that Roma is vulnerable group in Ukraine, and the terrible attack in April is still not investigated, and I believe that Yulia can tell us more about it. Good afternoon, dear friends. We thank the organizers for raising such an important topic. The issue of Roma is really acute in Ukraine, and as you know, we get information on Facebook, and we know that there is high percentage of intolerance towards Roma, and I am one of them. I would like to say that I am the representative of Roma community, and I am a person who was born and raised in the camp. I know the life of these people. My parents are Normans, and I feel not like, but I feel that I am really like other people. I am a citizen of Ukraine. I am a choreographer. I worked for more than 30 years in a cultural institution in Izmail in Odessa Oblast. 17 nationalities in our group we had, and I was really a part of the community when I studied at school, and the times were different, you know. And today we see Ukraine as it is, and we love Ukrainians. I live in Ukraine. We do not differentiate between people, and if we compare those times and this time, we see that the issues of nationality, they are raised, and we communicate in the Assembly of Nationalities, and it is terrible when one bad incident leads to blaming the whole people. We know that in 2012 these attacks were started near Kiev, and for the last 2 years, for the last 2.5 years, the third year in a row, there are some cases even with lethal consequences, fatal consequences. In Odessa Oblast, Shinovka, this name was mentioned at the world level, and my employees, they attended the summit, and this issue of Shinovka was #1. So Ukraine as a country, as a state, why it happens here? And I know that in Lashinovka the issue was not resolved. People didn't return to their places, and there's no compensation. Their houses, their assets, there's no compensation, and children, people do not accept them in some places. 2 weeks ago I visited the school number 5 in Ismail town, where children study, they have some developmental problems. So why children go there, Roma children? Because they have some food and clothes there, but the graduates of the school, they are not provided with proper documents and they cannot study further. And our IDPs, they go to the school, and the director, he understands and loves this community. He is Ukrainian. He heads the school for many years, and he is ready to cooperate. He wants to help to resolve issues of Roma community. And I'm really grateful to people who do not differentiate, because we are all just people. And we understand that there are bad people and good people, but we have a law that should provide for everyone. And the list of crimes, I would like to say for the whole public, for those who will listen to us, Zolotonoshe, there was an incident at on the ethnic ground, and but then this issue was resolved as administration. We addressed the administration, but our leader, who protects the community, and there are a lot of Roma who live there, he is now on home arrest for 2 weeks, because there will be a court hearing, and now we are in isolation. He is afraid of speaking on the phone. He is so intimidated only because he tried to defend the community. And there are many examples. In 2013, 2014, there was a problem of the illegal camps, and there were arsons committed in these settlements. In 2013, 2014, we worked with Darnska administration, and maybe everything depends on personal opinion and attitude of the person, whether this person really wants to help those people who come and live temporarily. And those who come here, those Romas from Carpathian region, they work on waste management facilities, and maybe there should be legalization of their work, and we came with a proposition to legalize this labor. And the head of the administration wanted to cooperate with us, and we wanted, for example, if Roma come to the city, they do not know where to go, they just hide. There was a case on at the railway station, right-wing group together with the police, they came and they started to force these people to go out. They tried to verify their tickets, and then they said that these people, they have to leave. But these people, they just came here to work. And we wanted to regulate this issue with the Darnitsky region administration in order that they have the proper territory and our supervision, they would be able to stay there. We would be able to control them in some way and to provide water for them. And also police of this region, it also can control the situation, to have the situation under control. And we had this idea. We took it from French administration of Strasbourg. They resolved this issue in a simple way. So just several minutes. Administration of Strasbourg, they decided to have such an approach. Migrants, and this is internal migration, so this issue can be resolved. So they have some rules for them. You learn language, you undergo some courses. They are illiterate people. They can work as janitors in the streets. So you learn language, you sign contracts, and you stay. They are provided with social housing, and they worked, and then they paid for this housing. So first it was provided for them for free, and then they paid for the housing. And so only those who wanted to work, those people stayed. So you understand how we can resolve this issue now. So a question about the incident on the Lisa Hill and how people overcame this. So we were really worried because when there is an arson, there is a wave, and on Facebook we saw the percentage of bad attitude to Roma. They are viewed as foreign, as alien, and this arson, first people left, and then it was the fire started. So but any incident, it remains unpunished, and people, they are just hiding. I'm Roma myself, and I'm really worried because as a leader I am responsible, and I'm Roma, and we feel unprotected. The state, our leadership, the leadership of our country do not react on these cases. And we should bring those people to justice. And why these radical groups, they feel so free, and why police officers just watch and they do not intervene. So we have proposals, and we will provide it to Golesivsk administration, and also we will have some meetings and trainings for police officers in order that they have more information about Roma, because this is really important. I would like to give the floor to Denis Kryvosheiev, Deputy Director of Amnesty International in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. Thank you, Oksana. Thank you for being with us. So we hold this event after the events that happened like a big wave. So we believe that we should actively speak about attacks from these far-right groups. The time has come to speak about this issue. And what are legal and illegal actions? The question was about it. So first I didn't understand this question, and why does this question appear? If we speak about the logic of this question, in what moment this actions, when these actions start to become crime. So there should be proper protection of rights without any discrimination. And so each person in Ukraine should have the right to enjoy these rights, and some groups, they cannot decide whether someone can have an assembly, what topics are raised, and if someone from far-right groups, when they implement such actions, when they voice their hatred, so the state then should intervene. So our view and our announcements, we provided a small text, and you can find the information on the site of Amnesty International Ukraine. And we believe that police inaction is unacceptable, and the police, they are present during the events, but these actions and inaction of police, we disagree with it, and why? 4 reasons for that. First, so those groups that are targeted by far-right groups, they first intimidate people, then they attack, and we do not respond to violence by violence, and we do it because we have principles. The monopoly for the force, it is within the hands of the state, and the police have proper means, law enforcers have proper means, and they should implement these means. And we do not believe that there should be some separate measures in case if the law is violated, if these are illegal actions, or if someone calls on to violate, to commit some violent actions. Law enforcers should stop this illegal activity, and we expect this from them. And the situation when these groups, they act openly and violently, and there should be preemptive measures against this. These far-right groups, they openly state their threats on social media, and then they implement them. So it is not difficult to forecast their actions, and it is easy to act on this open information. Important issue. Yes, we have some questions to police and to Ukrainian power. Ukrainian power didn't formulate their position towards these cases. So police, they just prevent, they have the task to prevent killings and violent crimes. We understand the difficulty of their task, but the task should be different. So this intimidation and harassment, they are unacceptable. And whether this is done by patriots or someone else, far right, far left, no one should call on violence, and no one should violate the law. So police should act based on this, and not to face the situation that we have today. So in our document, we formulated our views. First, to identify the attitude of the state and law to the activity of far-right activists and those actions that they implement, that they plan, that they call on, and to also state the position of the state and the protection of the human rights, and because also in case of discrimination and violence, violence against the vulnerable groups, also to investigate promptly, efficiently reported violent incidents. And it's not difficult to find those perpetrators. Their names are in open sources. There are videos with their illegal actions, and here investigation is not so difficult. Everything is open and should have consequences to take in effective preemptive measures, because fortunately, if we have facts, we can deal with them. And fifth, to abstain from actions that would signify implicit or explicit support of groups that call on violence or discrimination actions. These are different forms of cooperation with those groups, and that have who call on violations of human rights of groups, of different groups, and investigate the incidents when police officers, they allow homophobic and discriminatory language. So there should be proper consequences for this. And also, the seventh, to provide police with proper guidance and operational instructions. It is sad to see that police officers, as we see it, and in some situations they do not know what they should do and how to do it. So I will stop here. So we should get all the potential we can, and we ask those who are present here to bring it to the higher level, to the level of decision takers. So, continuing what Nils said, we expect for some preemptive measures from police. And at 7 today, Perimoga Space, we will have an event that was disrupted. We have a lot of threats that were sent to us. We informed police about it, and police, they said they will protect us. Perimoga Space today at 7, we will hold the event that was disrupted last time, and we hope that police will be able to protect us, and we hope that there won't be such a situation that we faced on Thursday. And also separately to what you said, I would like to add that on Thursday, these issues of homophobic and transphobic language of the commanding officer, I heard these words, and I have never heard that people, police officers would use such bad language, and this person, he used this bad language against the participants of the event, and I hope that there will be a separate investigation carried out by Kiev police. If you have questions, we are ready to answer. You can ask questions both in Ukrainian and English. So we have a question. Anastasia Moskvichova, Radio Liberty. I would like to ask about intimidations on social media. Maybe some separate organizations or activists do this. Could you please tell us more about it? So, who is going to answer this question? Maybe you or Denise? I can tell you about it. Maybe someone would like to add. So, these intimidations go through social media, Facebook, those in contact, and the Telegram, so many different channels through which we get these threats. Also, in comments, they do it openly. They write it in personal messages. They write to me, on the page of our organization. So in the majority of cases, they use internet. Sometimes we have such situation when they provide these threats through people. So about threats, one day before Thursday, it was on the 9th, maybe it was on Tuesday. In the morning, we woke up and we came to work, and we saw that on the plaque, Amnesty International Ukraine, that is on the first floor of our building, there was a swastika sign. It was made in black and clearly seen. Then they brought information who took responsibility for this, who did this, and we provided this information to police. As we know, police didn't introduce this information to single register. We understand what I mean. So we applied, but police didn't do anything, and we will appeal against such actions of police in court. Why it is so? If there was a Soviet-era sign, maybe something would be done. So about symbols and the situation, when we get this Nazi symbol, and then they shout that they want just to kill us, but nothing happens, no investigation. So now we have next question. Do you have other questions? Austrian agency. So could you please tell us about cooperation of Ukrainian politicians, Avakov, his connection with Azov, a story about Nalivaychenko? So the cooperation between the security services and far-right groups, but do you have some specific facts about cooperation among them and how they do it and what are the cases? So your question, it highlights the problems we wanted to raise, questions we wanted to raise. So there is a problem. Some bodies, some officials. There is concern that some such connections exist, but we cannot comment on this. This should be the topic for investigation for the bodies that are competent. So if we have information, we can voice it, but we know that these connections may exist. Maybe they provide money or something else. So we have the state, and maybe there are some reasons for this. So law enforcement bodies should deal with these issues, not organizations like ours. So there should be proper policy of the state towards these groups, and the police, they just became hostages of the situation. This issue should be resolved at the highest level, and the position of the state should be voiced. And what bodies should deal with it? The whole Ukrainian state should provide that the law is implemented and the rights of people should be supported, and there shouldn't be manipulations. Manipulations at any level should be stopped. Отже,
Hugues Bissot from UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. If you allow me, I just wanted to add a small comment to this. Our persons of concerns are also victims of such acts, intimidation. We have records of several refugees and asylum seekers who have been attacked. And there was no follow-up by the police, and in lots of cases there is no trust when the people are reporting to the police stations, and most of the time there is no follow-up. And I also wanted to inform about another example. We had an exhibition on integration of refugees that was last year put in different cities of Ukraine. The exhibition showing those panels was vandalized with clear far-right black signs on those pictures. The perpetrator was found, but he was fined with, if I remember well, something like 80 hryvnia fine for this, and there was no the qualification of hate crime was not retained. So indeed there is the action of the police, but the state is also not really following up at the level of the judiciary or the parliamentary. There are several changes needed, and this confirms what are your findings.
Thank you.
Здається, було в Уняна запитання, якщо не помиляюся. Так, прошу.
Будь ласка, ви можете назвати, які саме організації? Це 14.
can you tell us about other organizations and what you mentioned 14 organizations, and how can we bring them to responsibility, and who are those organizations? So it's not our task to call on prohibition of organizations or to popularize them somehow. So this is not our task. Our task is, if there is violation, it should be investigated. So maybe this organization can be named one way, another time it can be named differently, but these can be the same people. So investigations should be done properly. So we won't provide the titles of these organizations because we do not want to advertise them on the media. Police officers, they know about these organizations. These organizations do not deserve what they aspire. They want to that their names be heard because this will help them in their criminal activity. So one comment from me. Did you invite someone to this briefing, some representatives of the Ministry of Internal Affairs or other law enforcement bodies, because to hear their view? So I see now that we have representatives of Ministry of Internal Affairs, and we thank them for being with us today in this hall, that they follow these events, and we want to thank them for this step. Also, we would like to have opportunity to meet with them and to speak with them about further step or to hear their position on this. And also we didn't invite them to this panel because so before event we carry out some meetings, and then we voice our position and invite people to join us, but they didn't respond. But I see the people in this room, so we thank them for being with us today. So our time is up. Thank you very much. And we have many representatives of embassies and foreign press, and we believe that the majority of Ukrainian society, the majority do not tolerate such illegal actions. So thank you very much, and join us during our next event. Thank you.